Good morning. It's 7:30. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett. It's good to be with you on this Wednesday, September 18th. Happy hump day. We're going to help you get out the door with some weather this morning and traffic and some top headlines. We also have a very interesting interview coming up. If you're a property owner, you'll want to listen up because we have a former home title thief. He was convicted. He served several years in prison for this. And now this has continued to be a growing problem and become more mainstream than even when he served time for this type of crime. So now he's helping people protect themselves and their properties from this type of theft. And it's one of those things that's a little bit different than, say, your credit report and someone just stealing your identity. It's a little more complicated and sophisticated, but it's really hard to get out of if it happens to you. So we'll look at some of the precautions you can take and be aware of if you have any property ownership that, this could be impacted by. So that's coming up in a little bit. But first, want to get you out the door. Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos is in the Pinpoint Weather Center. And Candace, we're still talking about rain chances and we're still talking about the tropics. And, we've got fall about to start, but It still feels like summer.
Right. So summer this week, drier, fall begins this weekend, and then looking more at something more tropical focused by the middle part of next week. So if I caught your attention, I think I've got all seasons all wrapped into one.
Yes, a lot going on, really.
Yeah, so let's take it to the map to show you what's going on. So this is our breakdown for the next couple of days. Yes, fall officially begins on Sunday about 8:30 in the morning. But before we get there, we're still going to be feeling and looking a whole lot like summer. Rain chances about 40-50%, a little higher today along our immediate coastline. But then as we head into your weekend, it will be slightly drier. We're going to dial back those rain chances just a hair down to about 30% and fall again officially beginning on Sunday. But even though we're closing the chapter on the summer season, we still got a whole lot of hurricane season to go. And with that, we are keeping a very close eye on one specific area. We actually have two different areas in the tropics that we are watching. One is the remnants of Gordon that will stay out to sea, but it's the second one, a brand new one that was highlighted yesterday around 8 p.m. that hasn't really formed yet, but is expected to and could get close into the Gulf of Mexico by next week. So let's first talk about what you can expect for today. Rain chances are going to be up to about a 50 to 60% throughout the afternoon. And overall, we're going to continue to see more of those scattered showers and thunderstorms really favoring areas along I-4 and towards the east. So as we take you here throughout the next few hours, scattered showers right along 95 will start kicking up by about 2 o'clock. Then into the afternoon, really favoring that I-4 zone and towards 95. Now, we can't completely rule out the chance of seeing a couple of those scattered storms developing further west. But again, the bulk of the rain will be just like yesterday when it comes to those scattered storms. By about 8, 9 o'clock, most of the activity should start to taper off, and then we'll kind of rinse and repeat that weather forecast again. All right, so we are watching, again, two different areas in the tropics. We have one that is the remnants of Tropical Storm Gordon. If it does re-strengthen, it will continue to be Gordon. That has a 60% chance of continuing its development. Then a bit closer to home, right now in the Caribbean, there's an area that hasn't developed just yet, but is expected to. We have a lot of ingredients there over the far western Caribbean, really warm ocean temperatures, low wind shear, really calm conditions, and allowing for that development to happen without really too much hindering that. The problem with that is that we are looking at it lifting into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I'm just telling you, this is one of many, many models that we have, but I do want to show you the progress of it and the timing of it. The exact timing and placement is still very uncertain, by the way, because our models still don't have a starting point, right? This is not an area of low pressure that we can pinpoint on a map. It hasn't developed yet. So, of course, until we get an actual something developing there, we're not really going to get a perfect kind of consensus on where this will go. Nonetheless, if it even does develop, by the way, that needs to be step number one. Step number two is, where will it go? Most of the models take it somewhere in the Gulf. The Gulf is still pretty big. We can still have a system in the Western Gulf, but we could have something like what the GFS is holding on to is something on the Eastern Gulf of Mexico. And that is something that we'll be having to closely monitor by the middle and end of the next work week. So the moral of the story, hurricane season is still very much alive. We still have extremely warm ocean temperatures. and it's still something that we can't completely let our guard down just yet. Our afternoon forecast back here at home for your Wednesday, 90 will be your high today. Again, fall officially begins on Sunday. Rain chances will taper off a bit come Sunday and Monday, but after Tuesday, there will be that question mark in the forecast. I jumped my 7 day. The big question mark will be again on the tropics. Where will this go? Will the system even develop? But there's a lot of factors really kind of siding on more development, more things helping develop rather than hindering development. So we, of course, will be watching that. We have all the different ways. Right before Breakfast with Bridgett, we have Weatherwise with Jonathan Kegas, and he's really been honing down on this zone in the Caribbean, potentially developing something towards the middle and end of September. He's been talking about it for weeks. It's one of the reasons why we love that digital aspect of talking about weather, because it gives us a platform to actually stop for a second, really break down the science behind it, where we don't have all the time in the world on TV to talk about it. It
Exactly.
gives us the opportunity. So if you want to get a little more of a deeper dive into the tropics, you want a little more model data and the science behind it and forecasting outwards of beyond those 7 days, weather-wise, Tropic Watch, Jonathan Kegas, and we have a new meteorologist, David Navarro, who we're really focusing hard on the digital aspect, because we know that that's what viewers want. Viewers want more. And so that's also just a quick little plug, because it has been something that he has been really talking about, I think, for the last 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, and like you said, you get more in depth. You get more of the story
Right.
behind the weather instead of just the quick statistics and outlooks,
hmm
and so it gives you a little
Which you
more
still
time to
need.
catch your breath. Right.
Right. You still need that information quick.
Well, you
What do I
get
need to
that
know out the door?
right. Mm-hmm.
Right. But if all of a sudden you say, hold on a second, what's up with the tropical system? I want to know more. That's where we, of course, give you all the information online. And when it comes to this potential tropical system, we will be updating it throughout the rest of the week. Michelle Morgan is in for me tomorrow and Friday, but the entire team will be here kind of monitoring the system, giving you all the updates. So just don't completely let your guards down this weekend. Make
Yeah.
sure you have kind of idea of what's going on. If you have the chance, if you haven't done it yet, just making sure that you have the things that you might want to have around in case we do have something to contend with next week.
Right. I like that advice. Don't let your guard down.
Yes.
Always prepared. Thank you, Candace.
You're welcome.
All right, we want to check in with Trooper Steve, and oh yeah, he's right. He's right there next to Candace. We missed you yesterday, but you were busy.
Very busy. We do a lot of stuff here at News 6 other than just 2 hours of news. So that's how, at least I know, that's how I keep my glass full, is staying super, super busy. So yeah, today we'll be back down in Melbourne, kind of keeping that going with WKMG Hits the Road. The team will be live down there. Sorry, my banner kind of distracted me there. It's wrong. The team will be down there. I will not. I want to make that very clear. So a lot of people have reached out and was like, hey, Steve, we can't wait to meet you. We'll set up another day. That's a trip, guys. And your morning team needs to be Bright Eye and Bushy Tail with you. So I will not be out there late tonight, but I will be out there today at 10 o'clock off of Edgewood looking for speeders. There have been a lot of complaints, people not stopping at the stop signs, just flying down the roads. I'm going to take results one out there, 10 a.m., clickorlando.com. We're going to put the radar to test and just see how drivers are doing.
Okay, so take it easy out there if you're going to be around
They
Melbourne
better
at 10
take
o'clock.
it easy. Exactly. Our roadways right now, though, are kind of a mess if you're going and looking around a little bit. Seminole County east and westbound along I-4, 96-mile marker. Earlier crash has been cleared out. And right now, too, over here in Longwood and west of the Winter Springs area, look at Markham Woods. It is gridlock this morning, north and southbound, because of that eastbound delay. We never see an eastbound delay in the morning. And right now, we are almost to 436 from Lake Mary. So anybody who lives in Longwood, you guys are waking up to some very testy traffic this morning. The drive time, kind of high. 41 minutes from Sanford to downtown Orlando, and not bad, a 27-minute drive from Kissimmee to downtown. So we've kind of switched up our numbers today. I do have a crash here as well. John Young Parkway northbound at State Road 528. DOT cam earlier was showing a good scene. You could see it if you look really close in that DOT cam. You could see some flashing lights there. But the delay from 417 to 528 is heavy this morning as you pass the Ritz-Carlton out there, Bridgett. So please be careful for everybody. And then a little bit of delay northbound here on the Florida Turnpike out by, what is that, 417? Yeah. Tractions look good. I say that because we see that delay every day. So it's routine. Outside of that, everyone just needs to behave this morning, Bridgett. It's beautiful weather out there. It is, I almost want to say you can feel just a little bit of relief when you walk outside. Just, you can almost see it going, you can say it going like, hey, I'm here. I'm showing up. So I'm going to jump on Candace's bandwagon and see if fall arrives on Sunday.
Yeah, that humidity is letting up a little bit. I like it.
Tiny bit. When I walked out this morning, I took a nice breath.
Tropical to just humid.
We went from tropical to just humid, she said.
You might even
And in Florida, that's a
crack
big-
your windows.
I cracked my windows yesterday, believe it or not. I was in downtown leaving the event. It was a nice breeze going. I dropped the windows for about 3.5 minutes and then decided to pull them back up.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a safe
All
trip
right.
out there to Melbourne. Hopefully, hope you don't
Bye.
catch too many speeders. All right. Bye.
I hope I
Steve.
just get not pulled over. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Honk twice if you see Trooper Steve. Okay.
Yes, please. Bye.
So some good news when it comes to your money. We are hopeful that the Fed will announce some cuts to the interest rates. They are at their highest point in more than 20 years, and they have been kind of keeping them high for the past 4 years to sort of help offset some of the things that have been happening with the economy. So News 6's Ezzy Castro talked to an expert who you've seen here on Breakfast with Bridgett more about how this can impact your wallet.
In a few hours, the Federal Reserve is set to announce a drop in interest rates, the first rate reduction since the pandemic began in 2020.
I think the big question now, Ezzy, is how far will the rate cut be on this first one? Will it be a 25 basis point, which is 0.25% rate cut, or will they go a little bit more aggressive, which is 0.5%?
Financial advisor Eric Hutter says right now we are looking at a 6.2% interest rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage. So what does that mean if you're looking to buy a home? Possibly some relief for your wallet.
I think this is good for buyers because they're going to be kind of in the driver's seat, being able to maybe afford the homes that have gotten more expensive, but be able to keep it within the payment that they're qualified for.
Experts say the rate could also be an opportunity for people to look at their finances and save money on some of their borrowing.
That's what gauges the rate cuts. Is the economy slowing down to the point where the Fed can start easing the cost of borrowing money?
So we'll keep you updated as we inch toward the afternoon, and hopefully a good announcement there. I also want to talk to you about some changes with Instagram. You know, we talked about some of the legislation and some of the ideas around how to control those accounts when it comes to younger users. And so some new safety measures for teens on some of these social media platforms are making news. Meta, Instagram's parent company, announced some new safeguards for younger users. And News 6's Emily McLeod explains how they're rolling out teen accounts.
President and CEO of the Mental Health Association of Central Florida, Marnie Stallman, reacting to Instagram's new teen accounts announced on Monday.
What do you think of these changes?
Well, they're a long time coming, and I'm welcoming, obviously, as a parent, a mom of a 16-year-old who's on Instagram herself. I like those changes, but I also want to say that they should have been coming a long time before now.
So some of the protections that were announced on Monday include default private accounts for teens, sensitive content restriction, and the company said it would turn on its most restrictive version of its anti-bullying software, blocking out offensive words or phrases from teens' DMs or comments. But Stallman feels more needs to be done, especially when it comes to cyberbullying. Do you feel like that's not enough to prevent the cyberbullying?
I don't think it's enough. I think it's a small start. I think it's a carrot that's been placed out there to try to say we're at least doing something. And obviously, I'm never going to say doing something is never great, but we need to do a lot more.
Instagram is also adding a supervision feature, which allows parents to set daily time limits for the app, see who their kids are messaging, and see what topics their child is looking at.
Is that going to be challenging for parents?
I think it will be, but I also think it's an invitation for parents to step back into parenting. right? And that's not to put a ding. Everyone is very busy and got lots of things going on. But checking in and saying not just, hey, how was school today or what happened in your day, but actually creating family time where those interactions with each other are taking place.
And so we had an online poll this morning to see what you think about this. And most people say they are most concerned about TikTok, followed by Snapchat. Those seem to be the two big ones in terms of what you're concerned about out there. But you can still cast your vote too. Clickorlando.com/react. A quick break. We're back with advice on how to protect your home title from theft and fraud. So we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. We're talking about criminal home theft this morning when it comes to your title. And we have convicted felon Matt Cox with us this morning. He served 12 years in prison based on different crimes that happened in terms of stealing homes. And you had great success with this in Florida, but you've served your time now and you're giving back by trying to help people protect themselves. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Bridget. How are you?
Good. And you're now talking to people about something that you used to do yourself. How did all that come about?
Well, I owned a mortgage company and I had a certain skill set that I used to my advantage. And that would be I began renting properties or finding people with properties that I thought were, susceptible. And really, that's pretty much anybody with a home. And I figured out a way to either transfer the title to their home into a stolen identity's name or a synthetic identity's name, and then either sell the house or borrow against the house. Sometimes I even borrowed against the house in the homeowner's name.
Wow. So sometimes it was that you were using that person's identity or pretending to be them, then transferring it over into a different name. So there were various ways that this happened. So it seems to be a growing problem because when this happened to you, I mean, this was back in the early 2000s. And so now here we are, it's almost 2025 and it's a growing problem. So this is more prevalent. Is it because it's so easy to get public records? What is it?
I think that I think technology has made it easier to do now. When I did this, there were certain, like I said, there was a certain skill set you had to have that you no longer have to possess. Anybody can type up a deed. Anybody can search public records online. They can type up a deed. They can record that deed online. You don't have to go to the downtown. If you need W-2s and pay stubs, you don't have to figure out how to make those. You can simply go to a website and order them.
Wow.
There are so many things. You don't even have to go to a closing. You can do a remote closing. You can do a remote notary. Everything is so much easier now than it was 20 some odd years ago.
So it seems like there are a lot of holes in there where someone could impersonate or forge. So what can we do to protect ourselves? Because it sounds like we're a long way from kind of closing all the gaps in that.
Well, I think people are under the illusion that their home's title is safe, and that's not true. And you protect your credit card. Most people have some kind of identity theft protection, and that's the same thing you have to do with your title. You have to have some type of a monitoring service. I personally work with a company called Home Title Lock. That's who I suggest, and not just because they monitor the title, but if something happens to your title, Home Title Lock will act as an advocate to help you repair the damage that's been done by the fraudster.
Because
really it's about monitoring.
Yeah, because it could happen, but if it happens, they're going to help you with trying to stop it as soon as possible and get into the courts with you and help you navigate that and help you
Right.
with the lawyers and the legal process, because you will have to go through that either way.
Yeah, no matter what, even if you catch it in the middle of the scam, if you're being defrauded and you're having your home's title stolen and you catch it in the middle and you go to the police and the police catch someone like me, your title still may have been transferred, your mortgage may have been satisfied. There's all kinds of damage that has been done that law enforcement doesn't help you with. That's all up to you.
And so if you're going to sign up for a service like this, how much does that cost, or what should you budget for depending on your properties?
it's typically it's less than it depends on what program, but it's typically less than $1 a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I suggest everybody goes to hometitlelock.com and get their title monitored.
Yeah. And so if you want to just check and see if everything's good to go with your title right now, should you call the property appraiser? What's the best route if you just want to make sure everything's all right?
I would say almost all. I believe there's about 3,500 county records that are online. Most of them are online. You can search it online, but once again, it's not that easy of a process.
Yeah.
Right? So
one of those things you need to keep your eye on.
Yes.
All right. Well, Matt, we appreciate you being with us and giving us this advice. So HomeTitleLock.com, who you're working with to sort of spread awareness about this type of monitoring service that is available, given that it's becoming a more prevalent crime. But we appreciate your advice this morning and your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Take care. We have a follow-up this morning about a lightning strike survivor. You may remember a Good Samaritan stepped in and called 911 really fast. Neighbors came to this teenager's assistance. He was actually cutting the grass for his neighbor, got struck by lightning. It was really random, but he is okay, and they had a celebration in his honor just the other day, and Troy Campbell was there.
What has happened, transpired in your life since we spoke with you last while you were in the hospital?
So thankful everyone could make it. The fine folks from Seminole County Fire Rescue and everyone here, it's just really great.
17-year-old Daniel Sharkey says he's thankful to be surrounded by family and friends after being struck by lightning on July 15th while mowing his neighbor's lawn.
I wouldn't recommend getting hit by lightning, for sure.
What has it been like in the time since from the public, friends and family?
A lot of people, of course, were concerned. A lot of people found it hilarious, which, once they found I was okay.
We caught up with Daniel and the neighbor who called 911. Well, they attended a lightning survival celebration.
I saw it happen. I was looking out my window and I saw this horrible lightning.
Angelina, tell me, what went through your mind when you first realized someone had been struck by lightning in your driveway?
Sure. I think it was probably more than anything just shock.
Angelina Tolbert says she took quick action, watching on from her front window.
My older son or youngest son was home, and I just immediately screamed, "Go outside right now! Daniel's been struck by lightning!" So he ran outside.
You knew, you could tell that that is what happened.
Well, because there was this loud, that loud sound before, and I was like, oh no, that's bad. That's bad. It's never been that close and that much of a, vibration. And so I just knew something was wrong. So my son ran out there.
Explain how important it was for you to know somebody called 911.
Well, for sure. I was there. I was on the ground, unconscious, and our neighbor Angie, she was on it. I mowed her yard for quite a while ever since she moved to the neighborhood, and just I don't know if she saw or she heard and looked out the window, and I was there and was able to call and get help on the way. I'm just so thankful, and it's all about fast response time for anything.
In Seminole County, Troy Campbell, getting results, News 6.
So glad that young man is okay, and we were able to bring you a good news story there. So again, hope you'll come out tonight at Squid Lips, 4 to 7 p.m. in Melbourne, and we'll have the crew there. We'll be doing our newscast there with you and telling more stories about Melbourne as WKMG hits the road once again. So come on out and join us, and make sure you head over to the Insider page and get in your chances to win these tickets that we're giving out before it's too late, because we have the Howl of Scream tickets at SeaWorld, giving away some packs of tickets for that. And then we also have Island H2O and Kissimmee Water Park with some season passes for the family. So hurry and head over to clickorlando.com/insider to fill out the form for both those contests and your chance to win. That's going to do it for us this morning. I'll see you at noon. We'll be back tomorrow at 7:30. Take care.